Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Friday, the 19th of September. I think I said 19th of September yesterday. I was so keen to get to Friday this week. But looking at the FTSE to start off with, you can see that we're still near the floor of that rising trend channel. We've had an RSI 50 rebound, which we had on Tuesday, Wednesday, and we haven't made actually much. We haven't actually made much progress, but at least we are still within that channel. The floor of the channel there around 92.10, and we're above the 50-day line there at 91.52, at least while we're above that combo, looking for not only a break of the record high 93.57, but also to go up to as high as 95.20 at the top of the channel by the end of next month. Although it has to be said, September and October are not famous for markets reaching their peak. We do break down. The worst case at the moment, I suppose, is a return to the floor of this month's range towards 9100, but really expecting this market to remain within that rising trend channel. Moving on to the DAX, and here, as I've stated, not much of interest, very sort of dull price action, but at least we're still near the highs, and we're actually back inside that rising trend channel from April. Floor of the channel there at 23,600. Above that, we're looking for a break and waiting for a break of the 50-day line there, just below 24,000. Best case is that we get up to 25,800 at the top of the channel by the end of next month. The missing ingredient at the moment, apart from breaking above the 50-day line, is the way that the RSI is still below the neutral 50 level at 49. The other point to note, which I suppose is positive, is we've had a bear trap gap reversal, so a gap higher off that false low or that bear trap that we had on the early part of this week. So on Wednesday and on Tuesday and Wednesday. Moving along to the Dow, which has been leading the situation, I suppose, if anything, at the moment in the recent past. And here you can see trying to push through to the top of that channel there, which has been our target, 47,800 now. Looking with that by the end of next month, while we remain on the right side of recent support, which is around 45,700. See the RSI bouncing well above the neutral 50 level, so it's basically finding support in the 55 zone, which is a very strong place to do it, and gives us the feel that we're actually heading towards new highs in quite a big way. There is a rug pull, the 50-day line there at 44,900. Hopefully, the port of call and potential support buying area for those who are not in the market at the moment. Cryptos are next, and they've had a better week, although I suppose relatively unspectacular. We've got got stuck a bit around the 117, 118 level on Bitcoin. Not really a level of any significance, although I suppose it was resistance on the way down back in the middle of last month. Want to see an end of day close really through 118. If we can get that quickly over the weekend, maybe, then looking for 132 by the end of next month at the top of that rising trend channel from February, something that all the crypto treasury companies will be longing for. If there is a rug pull, then it's the floor of the channel there at 111, which is the potential support zone for this market. Moving on to Ethereum, where there are some who are hoping that Ethereum will be will take over from Bitcoin in terms of speculative interest. So far, not quite doing that, but we're still in the rising trend channel there from July. Floor of the channel there around 4,400, and above that, looking for 5,500 by the end of next month, especially while the RSI remains above the neutral level, not neutral 50 level, which it is at the moment, 55. We're also hoping that if there is any dip or any rug pull, it will bounce at or near to the 50-day line at 43.23. So maybe if you're not in this market, that would be the area to have limit orders in at. Moving along to gold, and here it's been relatively straightforward in the recent past, but a bit of a dip now back towards 3,600, although we still have that support from last week around that level. So above 36, still looking for 3,800, in fact 3,850 now, really at the top of that channel by the end of next month. If we do break down, then I suppose the 35.11 level of April would be the worst case scenario at this stage. Moving on to the stocks, and the cupboard relatively bare at the moment, but you can see that Blencowe is actually rising as I speak. We've had various levels in place here above around 4.75. We were looking for about 6.1 pence, basically post 2023 resistance. Ideally, we get up to 8 pence by the end of next month, which is a 2021 resistance line. And we're looking for that while we remain above 4.75 pence. So hopefully all the placings and other nasties now out of the way. You can see an uptrend line in the RSI window as well, which is helpful and does suggest that we are finally breaking out there. The key breakout zone, I suppose, is 5.5p to 6 pence. Moving on to Cadence, which is having a deserved revival. We've got a V-shaped bull flag there. We've bounced just below the initial target there. We had around 2.5 pence. RSI 50 plus rebound as well. So 4 pence looks as though it's the minimum on the upside, the upper parallel of that that broadening triangle. And we're looking for that by the end of next month or even sooner. You can see the main resistance here, basically in the recent past, has been up between 4 and 4.5 pence. So hopefully Cadence can get on the right side of 4 pence during the course of October, helped by its recent news, which has been excellent in terms of signing terms to restart the Azteca plant and obviously the cost reduction at Mappa. Moving on to Ceres Power, which I don't normally look at, but because it's such a dry day, we've got this rising trend channel in place, rising trend channel base in place. Top of the channel there at £1.74, and we're looking at that by the end of next month, especially while we remain above a recent resistance around the 125 area. You can probably firm that up to 130 really as a stop loss ahead of a move towards 170 plus by the end of next month. You can see that so far the shares had a block at the old February resistance around 155. Moving on to Empire Metals, where call it the Lassonde situation, but the shares are actually bouncing back after that rather nasty rug pull above the rising 50-day line there at 39 pence. We are looking now not only for a 50 pence target, which is actually, I suppose, been hit, that's what we were looking for before, but now actually back up towards the 70, 72 pence area by the end of next month. But the key here is holding above that rising 50-day line. RSI is already back, also back above the 50-day, the RSI 50 neutral level, and that is also a positive for the share price. Almost identical in terms of being another rug pull situation is Mast, and here the punchy call has been and is currently that the shares will go all the way back up after that rather disastrous RNS that the company came up with regarding unsolicited articles, which I'm not quite sure what that means. And here above the 50-day line there at 101, the target initially was the old support there on the way down 133. Above that, really difficult to see what would stop the shares going all the way back up to £2 and maybe even more. Moving along to Oriole, and here decent support zone there above the 0.35 level. Above that, looking for at least 0.5 pence by the end of next month. Whatever happens on that situation, it does look quite strong in terms of the RSI turning around above neutral 50. Renalytix has had a decent announcement lately, and after the initial spike to one of our targets there at 14 pence, we come back to the 200-day line. Above the 200-day line at 8.5, looking for at least 14 by the end of next month, maybe even up to 18, given the way that both the 50 and 200-day lines are both rising into a golden cross, and that tends to be the strongest part in the cycle. I think the news there was on the 15th, so just the beginning of the week, which was a very strong piece of news. Moving along to the last stock, and it is Skillcast, which is apparently a GRC play. Here we've got a very, very strong price action with the step formation, which is vertical, sideways, etc. And we just had a gap higher as well. So looking for a minimum here at 80 pence by the end of next month, while we remain above the 50-day moving average at 54 pence. Very strong update from the company today. And you can see all the nice numbers there, positive revenues and subscriptions and everything else. That's it for me today. More updates over the weekend.